apparently I left you hanging on a rather important issue, and so I'm supposed to be making another video. Because you may be mumbling and grumbling to yourself and wondering why it makes a damn bit of difference that you acknowledge that a parent may have been a narcissist. You're an adult now, you've done a lot of healing, you're fine. You're sure that whatever you do is working just fine because, yeah, well, because life is fine, right? So let me point out a couple things and maybe we can see why this would not be allowed into a mission. Most of us, if not all of us, children of narcissists, grow up with very little self-esteem or self-confidence. Of course, we attribute that to nothing but our own defectiveness because we've been worked on. Everything's our fault. A narcissist doesn't take responsibility for anything. Nothing is their fault. Children take on everything. So you would have gotten to adulthood thinking, oh, if something went wrong, it's me. Now, is that going to work with the mission? Because things are going to go wrong. Are you going to be effective if you say, oh, it's always something that's wrong with me, instead of maybe looking at the real situation and seeing things that need to be corrected outside of you? I mean, we're here for big stuff. There's a reason this is taking so long. We have to be able to see the true picture and not just go to that automatic default of it must be my fault. We are incredible people pleasers because we learn very quickly how to read the mood of that parent. And if they were not in a good mood, we knew that we would pay a price. And so we would do something to make them happy. We would give them their way on something and then life would be a little easier at home. People pleasing ain't gonna work in our missions because there's a lot of people out there that would want you to do things to please them that would be quite contrary to why we are here. In other words, not to build up other people, not to empower other people, not to be loving to other people. A lot of the agendas that we might think we have to, I don't know the term, follow through someone else's agenda would be destructive. Not at all why we would be here on our missions. The other thing is also about influence, but in a different way. There is often a very unhealthy attachment to that narcissistic parent. I know this whole thing sucks, doesn't it? Because we want to believe everything was good. And it turns out that our parent had a mental health issue. You know, and maybe it's easier to just look at it that way because hopefully you don't blame yourself or anyone else if they have some mental health issues. But it is something that you have to acknowledge so that you quit allowing the unhealthy behavior between you. There is often that unhealthy attachment where the parent has trained the child to think, no one can love you like I can. No one's going to have your back like I do. So the kid, who's not a kid anymore, is very heavily influenced by the opinion of that parent because they have that icky bond. There are other things that are not going to work with being on a mission, but primarily that's it. Because for you to be effective with your person, you have to be on board with being in union with your person, not just physically present. If there is controversy, you two have to stick together. If there are people being hateful, you have to have talked and agreed on how you would handle that, what would be the best way to handle that, and you have to stick with it. You have to be there for each other. You have to discuss things with each other, and the opinions of anyone else should not be more important than the opinion of your divine counterpart. You have to be that strong. You have to be that solid. So I think you can see, if you look back at your healing, all the things that could have messed with that. You've heard of power couple, but whether you want to buy into that label or not, you're here to be in union, to be a very strong influence for love. However that is on our missions, because I know they're all going to be different. We are here to sell, air quotes, promote, share, influence with love. And to do that, we have to be in a healthy, trusting, loving relationship and back each other, or it all can go to shit. We do have to be ready. There is a reason it takes so long. So consider not blowing this off. Maybe you've tackled a lot of it already and didn't even know why you had the traits that you had to tackle. You can do it, I'll tell you that. You can do it, and it will be worth it, even if you didn't have a mission. To heal this stuff would be way worth it.